What's up, guys? It's Eagletech here from Mrs. Factors. Welcome back to a new series. I'm going to be calling it It's a Review, if you want it to be. That's because it's basically going to be 10 to 15 minutes, probably 8 minutes back minimum, 10-15 minutes maximum. It's going to be a video series about me giving my unscripted opinion of a game, any game. The first episode is going to be about Kingdoms and Castles. Now, I came upon this game because it turned up in my Steam, what is it called? It's like the Steam suggestion list. I play a lot of strategy games, so it basically wanted me to, brought me to this game. This game is currently $9.99 on in U.S. currency. Not sure what it is in other currencies, but this game is sort of interesting. Let's just load up my first save that I had a play about with it. This is sort of I've played one sort of, I had a play around once, and this is sort of my first kingdom called Critania. So this game is fairly basic, to say the least. There's not much advanced anything going on with it. You kind of start out with this keep here. You build roads out from it, and then you start building these little hovels. They gather citizens. The citizens work in your farms, your mines, and so on. There's a few interesting advanced dynamics, right? So you've got these farms that the citizens farm, and they get food like this every year. Once a year, all of the food from every farm happens at the same time, and then all of the people they take the food to these to wherever they can. Probably the most interesting advanced dynamic mechanic from this point of view is that these windmills, any farm adjacent to these windmills gains a bonus. Now, this is a mechanic that literally is only used for that one thing, and there is no other adjacency bonuses that you can get in any other tile in this game, and I find it extremely upsetting that is the only sort of, like, buildings next to each other make other buildings better. Now, here we can see probably the most irritating part about this game. I would say it's probably pretty irritating. We might see something interesting happen. The reason why I find this relatively irritating, these Viking invades, is that they don't gain you anything. They just show up, wreck your stuff, and then leave. And basically, they come in. Your overall happiness goes down. I'll explain what that does later. Your happiness goes down by like 35 out of 100. I assume it's 100. I've never seen it go above like 90. They show up. They wreck all your stuff with their big troll guys, and you have to defend it, your kingdom, with walls and archer towers and ballistae. And you can see from a previous Viking invade that they broke in over here, and I've forgotten to build it up again, so I'll just quickly do that if I had the stone. So yeah, it's a management strategy game, kinda, mainly because there isn't a whole lot of strategy to go on here. The game that it probably is most similar to is Banished, another sort of Hamlet construction simulator, I guess. This game adds these castles and the walls and the moats, and also the constant annoyance that the Viking enemies bring. Now here's where I am just totally done with this game on the point that these Vikings can just walk into the water, like walk into the ocean, and just ignore your walls entirely. I don't understand why. What is the point of building these walls if the Vikings, the main enemy in this game, can just walk right over them, right around them? And you might be like, oh, but you could just build a wall around the entire place. It's like, but, okay, yeah, I could, but it doesn't entirely make a whole lot of sense why they could just walk across the ocean like that. I don't get it. So you can see that there's also this mechanic in the game where you can raise like an army, I guess, sort of knights. They don't do all that much. They're pretty useless. You have to like micromanage it like it's StarCraft, and they sort of just like don't attack the enemy properly, and then I don't get it. It's pretty pointless. Basically the only defense you'll ever need in this game is these archer towers, which decimate literally anything that comes near it, and the ballistae, the ballistae here, they're good against the dragon attacks, but the dragons are kind of just assholes, and they don't really do all that much. They show up, burn down a house or two, and then just leave. And the villagers don't lose any happiness. They're just like, oh, there's a dragon, it burnt my house down. Cool. Let's move on with our day now. But for some reason, people get upset about Viking attacks when we fail a Viking attack. It looks like we successfully fought off the Vikings that time just because of all of the archery towers that I've built. But it's just kind of it's dumb. This game, it's not a bad game, but there's nothing particularly interesting about it either. There's nothing I could really go more from here other than just build more of the same and try and keep my food stores even with the amount of people I have. I wish I could say it's a constant battle between keeping up like all of these different resources but it's not. The only resource that actually gets used without you inherently using it is your food. Food is the only thing that gets used up without you building something. Everything else is a building resource. Even money is a building resource. You don't need to pay anybody. You just take their money, and that's it. You use it to basically build moats, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I guess they didn't really have another building material that they could justify being used to build moats, other than just paying for it. So I'm gonna get into, I'm just gonna return to the main menu and not worry about saving. I don't care. We'll just start a new game. So that game I played on easy. Now, this game is incredibly easy. At least on the easy mode, and I can't imagine why you'd want to play on the no threats mode. It doesn't do anything. The easy mode is already monumentally easy, and just like getting rid of, I guess it's basically just getting rid of the annoyances, because none of the dangers or winter is not a problem, because all you gotta do is build granaries and then they store your food and you're fine. The Vikings, you just build a bunch of archery towers and hope that they don't walk around your walls. And then the dragons, when a dragon gets hit by a ballista, it just flies off after that. It's like, well, you hit me with one really big arrow. Guess I gotta give up now. That's all I got. All I got in my life. So I guess we'll just go with easy again. It does have this, really kind of cool, you see your randomly generated land before you get to pick one before you actually get into it, so you're not stuck with something entirely terrible. Sure, we'll go with that. That's good. You can choose between, one of, I guess, 4 banners that are in the game right now. More coming soon, I assume. You can name your... Well, let's use the sword this time. Just... Swordton. Swordton. It's Swordton. So, you get thrown into the game... not really any tutorial whatsoever. You just kind of have to figure out by the fact that you can actually only build one thing, which is the keep. The keep is the center of your town. You'll basically... No, the keep isn't... It doesn't do anything, it just is the center of your town. So you place that down, and then you gotta wait for your guys to build it up. So yes, okay, so I think the maximum happiness is in fact 100, like I assumed. So the way that this works is you gotta build roads that come out from the castle. You build hovels, and that's the sort of, basic start, and it's fairly boring until you get to like a point where you start actually struggling to not either there are basically two things that you can struggle with in this game: not having enough food to feed your villagers, or not having enough workers to work your farms to feed your villagers. It's... I just wish that there was something else that could be used to introduce some sort of danger. Like, other than the dumb, annoying dragon that doesn't do much once you get, like, archer towers, and fix the Viking problem where they can just walk on oceans, because that's crazy. I guess you could say that they have like longboats instead of the big boats, but I mean, then what's the point of like strategically building on an island, say, like or a peninsula or something, and then blocking off this one little line? What's the point of doing that if they can just like swim across this ocean? Or I guess this might be... I guess it could be like waist deep, but the game doesn't... they could just go across the moat, and surely you'd be digging the moat deep enough that they weren't able to swim across it, but whatever. So also, the main sort of thing that the keep does is you get to hear from your advisors, and they basically tell you what to do. At the beginning of the game, you won't really have any military advisor things, they'll just say hello. The city advisor is what tells you, he tells you most of what's going on. He's like, yep, you gotta build roads and houses. The agriculture advisor is the single most annoying advisor in this game, because every time you run out of food at the end, right before winter comes or during winter, he's like, "Well, you don't have enough food." I'm like, "Actually, I do. It's just that I ran out right before winter ended." But it doesn't matter, because all the people are fed for that time. It's just that I don't have any stockpiled. I'm like, oh, shut up, man. I don't care. Go away. I don't need you. So yeah, that's gonna be me for today, I guess. This was Kingdoms and Castles. It's not a bad game. Like I said, it's not a good game. It's not a bad game. It's a game. If you want a game that's like this, I would highly recommend Banished over this game, just because it's got a lot more going for it. It's a whole lot harder. So if you're looking for a more casual version of Banished, this is a great game to play. But if you're looking for more of just like a Hamlet town expansion simulator growing thing, building a city, building like a medieval town, Banished, very good game. Also, Banished has Steam Workshop support, which I don't believe Kingdoms and Castles has as of yet. Banished also goes on sale a lot, and this game is pretty new, so you could probably pick up Banished for a whole lot cheaper than you can Kingdoms and Castles. But that's gonna be me for today. I don't know if I'm gonna introduce a scoring system. I guess we could score it out of every game I look at this on out of 5. Kingdoms and Castles, it's not great. It's not good. I'll give it like I'm gonna give it a castle out of 5. That's what we're going with, a castle out of 5. Just one castle and a half out of 5. That's gonna be me. Sayonara.